is commercialization. You find that in other churches, you pay for a prayer, or if they need to pray for you, they would say buy water, buy oil, buy all sorts of other things. And we discovered that most of the churches, especially charismatic churches, would not have, financial records. Some of them are not even registered as non-profit organizations. And you find that there aren't any structures, good governance structures, like your financial committee, your human resource committee, etc. So it's mainly that you find that the churches are run by the pastor who started the church, and it's run that way. But what we also discovered, interestingly, is that some of them just don't know. It's not as if they think, they're doing anything illegal. It's just that there hasn't been anybody who said to them, before you start a church, this is how you do it. This is how you bank church money, and this is how you use church money, and these are the structures you should have. These are the ethical issues, these are the good governance issues. So we discovered that there are those who genuinely don't know, but there are others who have their own agendas in terms of how do I milk this cow dry, so to speak.
Were there any churches that was unwilling to work with you during your investigation?
Interestingly enough, throughout the country, there were only 3. And we saw over 100. So, it just shows that people do mean to do good. It's just that sometimes they don't know how.
These particular churches that you're talking about, these 3, are they charismatic churches, and can you mention them?
They are charismatic churches, but would rather not mention them because the matters are sub judice. They're in court.
Now, let's talk about your report. It's coming out today. So you hear it for the first time right here on your favorite channel on 404. This is Newsroom.
The report, we're uploading it this morning for the public to comment. We first had an in-house thing with a few critical religious leaders who then gave us input, and we've incorporated their input. Now we're putting it out for the public to comment this morning. And we're hoping they'll go into our website and comment about what they think of the report, especially our recommendations as far as what we found is concerned.
What is contained in the report? Is it news that is going to explode within the churches of South Africa?
We don't think it should explode. All we're saying is that we're professionalizing. We're proposing professionalizing this profession. Like all other professions, lawyers have their own law society, social workers have their council. We're saying religious institutions and practitioners should have their own council, what we're calling a peer review council, where your peers will look at you and find you well or not well and not fit enough if you do certain things. That fellow Christians should actually say, senior people in the church who will be a members of the council will say what we are doing is outside the framework of the church or whatever else, because we're looking across religions, and that you can't be one of us anymore.
If it's a peer review system, does that point to self-regulation of the church?
Exactly, that's what we're saying, self-regulation. But what we're saying, we need a legal framework. Because what we have now is just good associations, I'll associate with you. And if you start asking me difficult questions, I'll move away. So we're saying the difficult questions should be within a legal framework. So that before you start, your peers say, yes, you are fit and proper. One thing we're very strong about in our recommendations is that you should be cleared. You don't want to have past criminals, past pedophiles, having access to children, having access to young people who feel, well, I'm in church and everyone is safe here. So the issue of clearance is very critical. We also are saying you should be a fit and proper member of the community. If, for instance, you are a gangster and suddenly you decide a church would be a better way of making money, and then you start up a church, there's a problem there.
Yes.
You need, not to be the primary caregiver of the congregants. You could be a secondary caregiver and another senior pastor. But what we're saying is that once you've been cleared by your own pastors, we'll capacitate the peer review council to say, okay, we've talked to all the relevant people, social development, SABS, this one is clear. Then they give you a license to operate.
Yeah, so there must be a license for these churches. You don't just operate just because.
Well, we agree that there's a calling, that will get a calling from the Holy Spirit.
It's not a cell phone call, it's
it's a
yes.
calling. But everyone gets a calling. I'm sure you hear because, you got a calling that you must be a journalist. So we all get a calling, but we then have to go through a process.
Yes.
Yes.
Does the report indicate the reasons why we are witnessing this increase in these charismatic churches in our country?
There are two sets of reports. One is to look at why our people, what do they think is happening out there? Church members, do they think this is a good thing that's happening? Do they think that all these pastors who are doing all these other things are doing the correct thing? Because that's the report that then says to us, people need to be protected, even if they have to be protected from themselves. But we also need to protect the religion itself. What has it become? Because there are billions of people who are Christians, especially around the world. And we're saying that then tarnishes the image of the religion. We're there to protect and promote the rights of religious communities. So we're saying part of it is to say, let's look at how we protect congregants. Let's look at how we protect the religion. And we feel the only way we can do this is through a legal framework.
Is there a sense from the Commission that South Africa is being targeted by churches that come into this country from abroad?
While we're having these hearings, I think it's probably because your channel reaches other countries. We got a few delegations from other countries. One of the things they raised was that, people do wrong things there back home. And we hear they're here in your country now operating a church again, whereas they've been shut down back home. So we're also aware of the fact that that clearance needs to happen even for pastors who are from other countries, so that they can be vetted by their own countries to say, is a member in good standing. The Holy Spirit has guided the person to South Africa, which we think is a very good thing.
Yes.
So that, we can all do good.
Yeah. Chairperson, is there prima facie evidence that religion has been commercialized and there is definitely non-compliance with the law?
There is prima facie evidence. You see, even the few that have registered as non-profit organizations, over 60% of them are not compliant. So you find that, firstly, they don't register. Even those that register, they don't comply in the sense that they must submit their annual financial statements to social development. And secondly, they must have a narrative report that says this is how this non-profit organization is running.
Who will manage that process of making sure that all churches are then registered?
We are saying the council itself will do that, but as the CRL Rights Commission will give institutional support.
Once again, let's just go back to the key recommendations for the report that's coming out today. Yes. What are they?
Key recommendations is that we need a new legal framework. We need to make sure that every church or religious institution in the country is duly registered, that they've got a local government authority to open up a church in a particular place, and that, they consider the issue of noise levels, which, of course, the local government authority will deal with that. We are saying every practicing practitioner, a religious practitioner, must be licensed. We are saying that license is not a right, it's a privilege. It can be withdrawn if you do unusual things that bring the religion into disrepute, and that your peers' self-regulation will apply, and your peers are the ones who will say, you are right or you are wrong, and will simply manage and facilitate the system.
Chairperson, all the best of luck. The report will be released today. What time, and can people attend, if it's journalists or just members of the public?
Members of the public can go to our website, www.crlcommission.org.za.
That was the chairperson of the Commission for the Promotion and Protection of the Rights of Cultural, Religious and Linguistic Communities, Thoko Mkhwanazi-Xaluva, talking to us about the report that looked into that commercialization of all churches. There's also a question that we posed to you today. We're asking you that question. What do you make of that? There's a poll also running contrary to that. There's the question on your screen right now. Why is there an increase of these charismatic churches in our country? Do you know what we don't know? Let me know on the Twitter handle at SABC Newsroom, as well as on the Facebook page. And you can also participate in that poll of ours right here on the same Twitter handle. So do so. Right now, let's continue with the show. We'll take some comments and we'll continue this discussion after that.
Yes, yesterday we celebrated the kings of the continent, Mamelodi Sundowns, and we asked you the question, what does a Sundowns win mean for South African football? Let's take a look at what you